Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of rokrbox TV. My name is Josh Cunningham. I'm the founder and CEO of rokrbox. We've got our head ramp-up coach joining us today, Zach Stevens. How's it going, Zach?
It's going fantastic. Living the dream, Josh.
Awesome. And we've got yet another client success story for you today. This one comes out of Phoenix, Arizona. We have Claire Ackerman from Claire and the Ackerman team. How's it going, Claire?
Going good. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. And Claire, for those of you who don't know, was actually North & Co. top producing agent for 2017 and has been recognized as 40 under 40 multiple times from multiple different associations. So Claire, we thank you for joining us today. We wanted to just kind of highlight some of your success. You've got an awesome, incredible, motivating story that we wanted to get out there. So why don't we just kind of let you take it from telling us a little bit about background story, how long you've been in the biz, and kind of what started you down this path of creating a very productive real estate team.
Sure. I have been in the business going on 16 years. So I started on the title side of the world and then came in and got my real estate license the end of '05. So never really saw the boom, so to speak.
Perfect timing, right?
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I don't take it back because it was right place, right time. Ended up getting relationships with banks. So we had between me and my business partner, had 8 different REO accounts, so foreclosure accounts that we ran. And so that went really well. And then saw the market changing and moved into short sales. So did several hundred of those. And kind of saw that changing where we started our wholesale side of the business. So essentially started working with a couple hedge funds and going seller direct to them to kind of feed the machine, because everything was a hot market 2012 when the hedge funds were in Arizona. And then we kind of really turned that into a whole business. And the whole time I was still doing traditional. So it got to be a little too much doing everything. So me and my business partner went our 2 different ways, but for good reasons. It wasn't anything bad. We're still friends and still help each other out of kind of sourcing deals and things of that nature. And then about 2 years ago, that was that split. And so that's when I really started thinking about growing a team and obviously kind of starting over again, just because it's 9 years of business with someone, 2 different sides of business, one kind of balances the other out. So, changing over is a little tough to start and do. So kind of a nutshell of Cliff Note version of what that looked like.
Sure. So 2 years ago, you've always been focused on traditional real estate. 2 years ago, decided to ditch the non-traditional real estate and head entirely down that path. So what was kind of some of the first steps that you took to start establishing a foundation for a team?
Learning how not to hire. Very valuable lessons. I've had business coaches before, but yeah, kind of that learning process. And I mean, I've kind of maxed out last year. I'd do 85 to 100 deals a year by myself. So there's only so much capacity, and growing and then educating and trying to help other agents, just because level of raising the bar in the real estate industry in general, because we have a lot of licensed agents here in Arizona, but kind of really leveraging and scaling. And that process was fun to learn, especially when you're used to doing it yourself. So it was really hard control factor to give up pieces of that, knowing that's not my best time. So went through, I would say, just 2 interesting hires. But, I don't take any of it back, not any of my experience or what I learned, just because that's where I'm at today with the whole team that I have in a very short amount of time, and a lot of it happening organically. So it's been fun. It's definitely been fun. But
yeah,
go ahead, Zach.
Oh, okay. So so as you started to build out that team, went through a couple of the initial hurdles that we always know that happens. Show me how expensive a hire is, I'll show you how expensive the wrong hire is, right? Yeah. So we understand that completely. And then you got going and you started looking at different CRM options, and what kind of drew you to Firepoint, where you're at right now?
So I've used, I would say, pretty much every system out there, and they're all great in all their different ways. They all come with a different price tag. So it's kind of what they do and what I don't really need, because I've used the same systems for years. So it's all my marketing and staying in front of my clients and I do the old school quarterly mailers that magnets on your fridge and go to my clients' houses and they all have them up there. So kind of that aspect of like drip campaigns and things of that nature, I have a very different way of going about it, which has been why there's been so many closings, because I'm a follow-up like queen. So my team loves to hate me sometimes. Closely, but Firepoint had really just started essentially, and it was actually created by someone that did real estate, had his own team, really understood, instead of had some just developers develop a system that so massive that did stuff it didn't need to do, at least for me and how I operate. And then getting in kind of at the beginning with them, their developers like listen to suggestions and they're really easy to work with. And their platform cost is, it's really not that expensive for just doing what it needs to do. So they're really good about, different lead sources that I have. They'll have different parsing emails. They can make changes to the front end site because it's still just your traditional real estate site that the IDX from the MLS pumps through. So they can go in and kind of cater it. Like my site has my own retargeting code that I've used for years that goes to my review page, and I pop up on everyone's banners on the side or on the top, and even my friends, I'll get screenshots like, what the heck? I'm like, gotcha. Like, there you go. So they've just been really easy to work with in that regard. And it's easier to train an agent on it, especially if they're newer and aren't used to CRMs, because of the simplicity of their system that can still do drip campaigns and you can build it out however you want. But just for my aspects of how I work, it really benefited me the way it was structured.
That's great. Yeah, and we found that Firepoint's a great tool. We love our friends over at the Firepoint team as well. We just started learning Firepoint about a year ago. We used to work exclusively with just the Boomtown CRM. And so in order to service more of the market, like you said, there's different CRMs, different price tags, different needs that people have. And so we wanted to make our services more widely available to teams and developing teams like yourself out there. So about a year ago, we started learning Firepoint, and then somehow we magically crossed paths as well. Why don't you kind of tell that story?
So I had went to Inman in San Francisco last August. Yeah, last August. And I had ran into Gabe, who is the creator, owner of Firepoint. And just from seeing his videos that he sends out, he always wears the same hat, and walking down the hallway, I was literally like, "Are you Gabe?" And so we just started talking. He asked if I had seen your guys' video that he had just started, partnering up with you guys recently as far as having an ISA. And so I was like, okay, that's perfect timing, because I had ramped up marketing. I had one agent, but then she had 2 kids. So I had just ramped up marketing and was about ready to fall on my face based on the amount of spend that went up. I mean, I'm a machine, but I can only handle so much. So this is kind of perfect timing when I kind of collided with him. And then so he set that up, and then I think we got started really kind of grinding or learning systems together with you guys, probably the middle to the end of September. So the timing was perfect. So things happen for a reason. Doing right now, and some other things that have crossed my path if I didn't have this in your system to kind of nurture those leads to build and create my team now. So just random timing, walking down it was a huge conference. So walking down the hallway, and I don't know what he looks like. He didn't know who I was, of course, like all the different clients, but it was pretty cool. So.
Oh, good. And then tell us about kind of how that experience was those first few months with us, right? You say, so you're adjusting to now having an ISA helping the leads. They come in right away, and we're doing the initial follow-up with them, sometimes long-term follow-up if they're not quite ready to go yet, or they're being sent right over to you when they are ready to go. So tell us about how that experience was, because it's very different from what you were running on before, right? You were taking them right as they came in and running them through yourself. And now you're having somebody else help you out, give you some of that time back. Tell us about that.
So I wish I did it a long time ago, but just because it's been so great. But it's kind of learning. So I do a lot of Zillow marketing. So because that being said, Zillow's right now, like people, they want to see property. They're here. I'm in South Scottsdale in Arizona. So it's a very, we have a lot of people that travel into our city. So it's a lot of like relocation. We have tons of like companies coming in as well. So I'm basically cover the South Scottsdale area. So learning those different lead sources, because of like different agents run different campaigns like pay-per-click and Facebook and whatever the case might be, Zillow, Realtor.com. So it's kind of catering, because I'm a little particular. So it's kind of trying to learn how I kind of talk and what I know works in our market, as well as kind of learning Firepoint. So really, it went really smooth, and you guys have been great, Zach and now Trevor. Kind of, I'll point out things if I catch things and things like that, but you guys are on it so quick. I mean, within a minute, and just the process just ended up gelling, and the traction happened, I would say, a lot sooner than I anticipated it, because I've ran campaigns and started working with different systems and different people for years, and usually you've got your 4 to 6 month growth period on anything. So it happened, gosh, like 60-ish days. I mean, there's still leads in the pipeline that have been cultivated by you guys that are still being worked, that you always have long term. If people are in town, they want to see something. I work a little bit different as far as getting in front of those leads and really creating rapport. And then it turns into, a couple of months down the road, they might not want to do something, but then they circle back around just because staying in front of them and follow up in that regard. So it was a pretty quick process. So it was really easy to kind of implement and learn together how to make the most of everything. Obviously, you guys want us to be successful, and then likewise. So the more, the more ROI that we can all work together as a team, opposed to trying something. I'm all about testing and measuring. So giving something the appropriate amount of time, and the fact that it kicked off a little sooner, and our market was a little unique at the tail end of last year, and we're still really low on inventory compared to what a normal market would be. So kind of going through that challenge at the same time was pretty beneficial almost, because it was a really good opportunity to learn, but there was still a lot of leads coming in. Problem is, properties are under contract. So websites, any of them that are IDX, we have certain statuses on our MLS that show active. So to be able to kind of flip that of, well, they're really not under contract, and then consumers don't understand always that there's a close knit of agents, especially in different parts of town, that all work together, but kind of not always understanding that you're not the actual agent, but the agent, and it's associate, that type of thing. So it was still working really well, and there's still a lot in the pipeline, but it was kind of a challenging part in our market, whereas the first of this year picked up, but we're still pretty low on inventory. So it's working. It's working very well.
Good to hear. I heard you say, Claire, that you said I'm a machine, but I am still human. And I really appreciate that, because you definitely do have quite a driving work ethic. And I want to talk a little bit more about, the process that, you said you were covering all the leads. You're a machine, but you are still human. Essentially, that's what we're trying to create, is a very systematized, a very mechanic process, but it's still people doing the work, right? We're using technology to facilitate human interaction. So now that you have this machine behind you of rokrbox, which essentially is we're open 80 hours a week to help you filter out all the people that don't really deserve or need your attention right now, so that you can focus that driving machine type of force, energy, and attitude and effort towards those people that actually do benefit and deserve your attention. So I think, Zach, do you have a screen share, just one of the examples of the leads that we've gone through here? I want to kind of talk through step by step. So we're scrubbing all the leads, we're making all these calls, we're that machine on the front end. But once we actually identify that a lead is a hot and ready opportunity, why don't you kind of talk to us about the results after that happens? So Zach, do you have a screen share here of a lead that we can look at?
Yeah, I do. I'm opening that right now on my screen. So can you guys see this okay?
Yep. So it looks like back in January 13th, let's see here. We found a lead looking to purchase. As soon as he finds something, looking for a vacation home, will be his 4th or 5th home in the U.S. Looking to be close to his daughter in Phoenix. So there's all of our notes right there from our caller. So this came as a result of a new registration. So once we hand over the lead to you, once you get that alert that says, hey, this is a person who's, you know, ready and willing and able to buy, what does your process look like from that, so we can actually get them to the finish line?
Gotcha. So I have a couple lenders that I work with too that kind of do a little bit of joint marketing, that type of thing. So you guys will tag the lender as well to let them know we need a pre-qual. So then everybody's kind of jumping on it together, which the biggest problem in markets is realtors not responding back, or not, you know, you guys on the front end, but then sometimes people don't ever hear from somebody just because that's just your nature of the business sometimes. So I still assign it to my agents, because I'm trying to do, some of them are newer, so it's really just making sure the lead flow is, you know, handled as much as that agent can handle, and keeping that lead count really, you know, together. So this particular one, this gentleman was a really nice guy. I actually ended up meeting him and sitting down, and we all had lunch, my agent and him and myself. And he owns restaurants. So nice. Enough, just randomly, didn't know that on the front end, put him in contact with my agent that has been in the service industry for 18 and 20 years. I mean, if it was just like the perfect scenario. But he's, you know, a little bit newer. I wouldn't say newer, but just, it was a new construction. It was a new build he ended up putting in. So it was a little bit of a different experience for him. But I mean, that one was January, and I think it closed in March or February.
Nice. So essentially, you set up the meeting. Was that so? You followed up over the phone. Did you offer to schedule the appointment? Did he say, "Hey, come meet me at this place," or how did that process actually look? So
I just assign it to my agents, and then they'll get in contact with them. So if we see the best way that you guys reach them, like a phone call, email, text. And to be honest, most of the time people are doing something. I mean, he owns his own restaurants, but the general public, they're usually at work or doing something they shouldn't be doing. So this day and age, text messages is usually, you know, the best way to get a hold of somebody. But really being able to see that point of contact of how you guys got through, the easiest on our end. And then my agent, as soon as I assign it to them, you know, I'll text them together and say, okay, who can take the lead right now? Because again, our market, they might have inquired on 4 houses. So you guys get in contact with them, but it's then a handoff of working it on our end. So they just reach out the same way. They'll do a text or a phone call or email, and then they'll actually set the appointment and see when they're coming in town. Because like I said, there's a lot of people, sometimes they're here and then they decide, and a lot of times they're, you know, preparation of actually coming here. So he set the appointment, and you know, the guy was actually not here yet. And from there, they went out a day and a half, and it was under contract for, that was almost, I want to say almost 400,000.
Nice.
So, yeah.
That's great.
Well, it sounds like the main thing that you're driving to there, Claire, is also the benefit of having all the work done in the account, right? It's completely transparent. You know, everything that we're doing inside the profile. So you guys can take a look, and just like you're saying, you see that we got in touch with them on the phone, or we actually got them through text messages. Or however it is that we communicate with them, you could see all the notes that we have, and everybody's fully informed, right? So I think that's so important because it allows you to be in the best position possible, or your agent, right, Justin, in this example. But it allows you to be as informed as possible to make kind of the best next step, to take that next step forward with the lead. And it's so important to be able to do that and just look at their whole history, right?
Yep, absolutely. And it's just you guys help me on the front end gather that information, and then what it's hard out of like the personal business and things like that agents have going on. In Firepoint, you guys will actually, because if you can gather all that information and you know at least what they originally were looking on, then you guys will set up in my system their actual home search, which is huge. So that really helps. Kind of, you can see like Craig was still online. If this is a current screenshot 2 days ago, like we can see them online still. So we can see as soon as you guys email over their login or link, because they're not signing up on my website. They're getting dumped into my website. So that's a huge difference. They're just not pay-per-click leads that are running it on the web. You guys initially having that conversation and then sending that over really just puts us in front of them even more, which is huge because, like I said, there's not always enough time, and they still have to work those leads, and I treat them like a machine too. So
I like that attitude. Yeah, it's all about having predictable and scalable results. So
right. And
go ahead.
Follow-up. Everyone's like, what do you do? I'm like, one, I'm transparent. I'm myself. I'm not an aggressive salesperson. Like, I'll go through and point out things in properties, not to waste everyone's time. But at the end of the day, it's working with lead and actually following up. And I'll have my team actually create their follow-up notes. We have like a whole process behind the scenes of when and that looks like and how far apart, but they put a note in the system and they'll specifically follow up with that person, like text, email, call, based on their last conversation. So that's why I'm not a big drip campaign person. Probably so one thing, but to actually have that organic, real touch instead of, they do sign up on different sites. They're getting the same drip campaigns. So I've always been like that, but having the home search really kind of helps in the background to really keep working and following up, which is huge.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest myths in real estate or misunderstandings is that, realtors don't actually sell homes. Right. What you sell is services, is yourself. You sell your services. And so calling a lead, that's part of servicing a lead. That's called customer service. We're not just trying to transact people here. We're trying to actually service them. So that includes personal touches, phone calls, text messages, emails, and then really diligent note taking so that you're actually treating each person importantly, like an individual person. So let's talk about the results so far. How many people have you serviced, right? Now, how many transactions, how many people have you serviced so far? And then how do you build on that success and use that to motivate and leverage the growth of your real estate team?
So is that just, what have we done together as far as what you guys have?
Yeah. So far on the plan, what have you got to brag about, and then how do you use that to use those examples of success to build upon and start recruiting agents and building your teams and things like that?
Got it. So starting really, I want to say the first one to close officially was in December. So it's been, I can't remember the exact number. I know how many we contracted, but we're at almost just under 5 million closed with you guys. And I want to say, spreadsheet somewhere, hold on. It's so not.
You started with us right at the end of August.
Yep.
And you said your first closing came in December. So there's a little ramp up there.
I would say the end of September. So
end of September.
Credit there.
The first closing came in pretty quick then.
Yep. So it was about 15. We've got 15 closed with you guys.
Oh, wow.
My Excel sheet might be taped up. So about 15. And that, like I said, is just shy of 5 million. There's still others in the pipeline. One recently turned from, she was going to refinance, keep her condo, and that turned into a buyer and a seller, and potentially some other people in her family that my agent Meg is working. And I just closed, let's see, it was a $400,000 cash that was in December. And then they referred their sister, basically sister and parents, to come out and buy a second home. So that was $525,000. So our price points in Arizona are a little bit different. Our taxes are low, but I would say essentially our average price point is, at least for my team, and Arizona as a whole, I think is like at 280,000, but for our team, it's like 350 for our areas. But that, being one official referral, and then I just closed one 2 weeks ago. That was 495,000, and then they already referred me their godfather that's coming into town, and setting them up next week. It's the end of the month, so it's just a different widget, customer service and caring. Mm-hmm. So our whole thing is our clients become part of our family. That's like my big vision statement overall. So just different widget and caring. It doesn't matter. It's just a house. The house I can't sell the house. They either like it or they don't. I can point out things that we'll see in inspection that are going to come up, but it just is working because that's turning into multiple referrals, which is obviously the prime goal.
Yep. That's the best compliment you can receive is a referral.
Totally. So then it's been good. They're, people are like, oh, you guys got back to me so quick.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how it's supposed to be. And just that handoff. I mean, it's just huge, but you have to work it.
Yeah, we live in more and more of an instant gratification society every day. I mean, everything is on demand. I can't remember the last time I actually sat down and watched programmed television when it was aired for the first time. Like I literally don't even, maybe the Super Bowl, but I'm pretty sure I paused it and like fast forwarded and stuff. But yeah, people are online. They're searching for homes. They want answers. They want it now. They want to be serviced, not transacted. So I love your work ethic. Love your attitude. I think you've got a fantastic foundation laid out to build a very highly productive real estate team by just modeling, like you said, modeling the activities of the leader, of yourself. Zach, do you have any other questions or anything to talk about ramp up wise or things that you and Claire have been working on over the last couple months?
I don't. I just know that we appreciate the fact, what you'd mentioned earlier, Claire, where you can get in, you can communicate with us directly in the system. We absolutely love that. And Claire, you give us feedback, right? You give a lot of feedback, and I know that, and we laugh about it on our calls. But it's so nice that you can get in there and just say, hey, could you give me some more clarification about this leader, or kind of explain the process again to me here, right? Because it helped us, devise out our kind of standard operating procedures with it and hone that in, refine that down. But it also helps us communicate back to you and say, oh yeah, this is why the lead looks this way. Or yeah, Firepoint just rolled out this update. So this is how it's going to be looking from now on, anything like that. It's so nice to be able to have what really is more of a partnership than just saying, okay, I'm just outsourcing. You guys take care of the leads. I'm going to go do this. Right. It's more of a partner in a combined effort. And I think that is a huge indicator on why you've been so successful with it just through this point. And, still ramping up to full speed with the leads, as you know, and as you build out the team, there's only up to go from here, right? The only way we can go is up.
Well, my world. Yeah. There's no going back.
Right.
That's awesome. Well, thanks again for your time today, Claire. I really appreciate you sharing some of the details of your processes and kind of your story and how you got here. Almost 5 million already closed in the last 8 months. That's fantastic. So again, we really appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us. For all of our fans and viewers, we'll be back here in a couple weeks. We've got another raving client success story. We'll have Spring Benson out of Salt Lake City, Utah, sharing some of her strategies and tactics on how to get the best conversion out of your internet leads. To our friends at Firepoint, we love you guys as well. And Claire, thanks again for your time, and have a great afternoon.
Thanks. You guys too.
All right. Take care.
Bye. Thanks, Claire.
Bye.
Welcome.
Bye.
Bye.